In this video, I'm going to be teaching you the 5 easiest nollie flat ground tricks, and I'm also going to let you know my #1 hack for doing nollies in general. For some of the tricks in this video, you don't even need to know how to ollie before doing them, but it does help just being a little bit more comfortable with the nollie stance. Now, the #1 hack, or the #1 tip I have for doing nollie tricks is making sure that you're putting enough weight on your back foot or your flicking foot. A common mistake that I see people make when trying nollie tricks is that they'll put too much weight forward and they'll end up falling forward. They're not as centered on their board, which makes it so that they aren't really able to do the trick. It sounds overly simplified, but I would highly recommend focusing on your back foot, the one that you're gonna flick or flip the trick with, and make sure that that one has enough weight on it and that you're putting enough emphasis on that to stay centered rather than leaning too far forward. Let's get to the 5 easiest nollie tricks. The #1 easiest nollie trick is the nollie front side shove it. This is one of the tricks you can learn before you even learn how to nollie. This is one of the easiest tricks to learn in general. If you've ever tried to do a stationary shove it before, you'll notice that the board's momentum wants to continue moving in the direction that you shove the board. And so with a nollie shove it, because you're shoving it in front of yourself, the board just sort of naturally continues forward. So it makes it very easy to land on, especially if you're moving while doing this trick. So I think that this trick is easier to learn while moving. You can practice this trick at any speed. You don't have to be going super fast. I would just make sure for your foot placement that your feet are nice and spread out while you're learning, one around the bolts of the back of the board and one around the nose of the board as well. The second easiest nollie trick, in my opinion, is the nollie backside 180. For this trick with foot placement, I would suggest hanging off your back toes a little bit off the board, just to give yourself a little bit more board feel as you're in the air to be able to really swing that board around. But the main thing with this trick is it's all in sort of like the shoulder swing or the arm swing and where your head is looking. With this, I just encourage you, wherever your upper body goes with your shoulders and your arms, your feet will follow and your board will follow. And this is one of those tricks that you really do need to learn how to nollie before doing. Once you learn how to do an actual nollie, this trick will come like second nature to you, because it's really just a nollie. You just turn your shoulders. And you'll learn, maybe your first try, you do like a 90-degree turn or somewhere in the middle between 0 and 180. And the more you play around with it, you'll just see what works for you if you want to pivot it or if you want to get enough turn in the air to just land 180. Now, the third easiest trick I think is the nollie backside big spin. And this is similar to the backside 180. You have that same swinging motion. You just give your board a little nudge as you're doing it, and it seems a little scary with the board moving around so much underneath you. But if you're watching this video, I'm sure you've already done some tricks before and you know how to overcome those fears. This is one of those tricks that you don't need to pop for. You can pop, and I think it looks pretty stylish like that, but it also looks stylish just being slid across the ground or just sort of bouncing around between your feet. And that's how I do it, and I think it looks super cool. I would definitely try learning this trick without learning the pop with it, but some people may prefer to end up popping this trick later on. One of the keys to this trick is making sure that your feet are very far spread apart, because if they're not too far apart, you'll probably end up under rotating the shove it, and also you could risk landing with your feet both so close together that you just slip out. So make sure that you're taking a very nice wide stance on this trick and you should be good to go. The 4th easiest nollie trick is the nollie flip or the nollie kick flip. I would definitely recommend learning how to kick flip before you nollie flip and being able to do a decent nollie before learning your nollie flip. So I actually learned how to do nollie flips before I learned how to do regular kick flips, but I think that that's for another video. So make sure to subscribe to be able to see that content in the future. What is kind of hard to explain about the nollie flip is that everyone does their kick flips a little bit differently. How I like to do my nollie flip is by keeping a little bit more of my flicking foot on the board so that I can get a little bit more time sliding up the grip tape. I've found that if I have my flicking foot hanging too far off the board, that I'll sort of get a rocket flip and that I won't have that motion to really bring my board up. But if you're learning and that's easier for you to flip the board, it really doesn't make a difference as long as you're happy with your end result. And this is one of those tricks where it really, really matters that you're focusing your weight on your flicking foot, because you do still want to get that good pop and that good force down on your front foot. But if you're leaning too far forward and not putting enough weight on your flicking foot, when you put your nose down to do the trick, you'll most likely just end up falling forward rather than actually staying upright. And the 5th easiest nollie flat ground trick is the nollie heel. I think that people think that nollie heel flips are a lot harder than they actually are. Again, like with the nollie flip, you want to make sure that your back foot has a lot of your weight or a lot of your emphasis. The #1 piece of advice I have for this trick is to make sure you focus on the pop, because this trick is so easy to credit card on for some reason. You want to make sure that your emphasis on the weight is on your flicking foot or on your back foot, but you also need to make sure that your pop is very forceful. So make sure that you have a good pop on this trick, and you can avoid credit carding. Sometimes I hang my toes off, sometimes I don't, but I found that it doesn't really matter as long as I get a good pop. Foot placement can differ on this trick. I keep it around a little bit near the bolts and then making sure that I'm dragging and really giving my back foot a good shove off the back corner of the board. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll be giving you guys new videos every Monday. Thanks so much for watching.